this has been your daily dose of cognitive dissonance. But a fresh reminder that cognitive dissonance needs to be dealt with. And if you're angry, it's because it just disagrees with your preconceived notions on life, and your preconceived notions could be incorrect, believe it or not. Yes, we're not always right. So if you want to just hate, okay, khalas, but understand that you're just hating and it doesn't mean anything, because emotional skepticism, throw it out the window. If you can refute, the points made, the arguments made, that's a different story. But since we are operating under the deen of Allah, very unlikely you'd be able to do that. And if you think you have, you're fooling yourself.
How would you feel if mom passed away, knowing you didn't do anything to take care of her? This is really good stuff, and it gives people insight into this type of life, because this is not something that many people know about. So the one thing that I want to do here is I want to kind of restructure this and bring it into more so for Muslim women here, right? Because let's be honest, a lot of the Muslim women are being affected by feminism. They're being affected by liberalism and just all these different ideologies and ways of doing things, right? And with that being said, you have the traditional values in Islam that are actually starting to be tossed to the side by many of these Muslim women. For example, there's a lot of Muslim women that are completely against polygyny, even though clearly it says it in the Qur'an. You got a lot of Muslim women who they literally just want a man that's going to take care of everything for them, but they are trying to one up. And kind of like you said, it's a very domineering type relationship where the woman is in her masculine and the man is in her feminine. And what's crazy is that the woman will actually want this because of the ideology that's being instilled upon her, because of the things that she's putting onto herself, thinking that this is correct. So for these chicks, what do you have to say for that?
So your question is like, what would I say to a woman who is not okay with polygyny?
And what would you say to a woman who's not okay with polygyny? And what would you say to the women who are Muslim, yet they still are they're adopting these ideologies and these ways of being, where they are being the masculine in the relationship and they're being dominant instead of their man being dominant?
And I don't even think they're realizing it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with the domineering part is the best part I'll give you, because that'll lead into the polygamy part. So if you allow yourself to be the leader all the time with your man, you will lose respect for him. And when you lose respect for him, you will naturally not incline towards him in intimacy. And then once you decline towards him towards intimacy, he becomes a sort of slave for you of money, just paying the rent, just buying you groceries, being your chauffeur, taking you around. You're going to start to lose respect for him, and you're going to start to crave more of a hold. And then you might slip up and cheat on him with a man who is not a Muslim, but he's perfectly willing to put a belt around your neck and put you down. And then you're going to go home to your good Muslim man, secretly cheating on him and maybe give him an STD. You might have gotten pregnant. You're going to then take even more of your energy out on him. And then you will crave eventually something more than just having a soft little soy boy who you've beaten down. Because if you beat down your man, you will get more and more and more just disgusted with him, right? And he doesn't deserve to be abused by you mentally, because a man who allows himself to be whipped on too much, eventually you will start hitting him, and he might let you hit him, but you're going to get a false sense of ego trying to hit him, right? So let's say she beats her man because she's dominated him so much, but then she goes and cheats on him with a non-Muslim man to get physically intimately satisfied. A lot of these men who are not Muslims will haul off and sock you in the face. I mean, I think a lot of people on my channel know I've had a lot of fist fights with men. I grew up in a very violent area. I've seen abuse. My mom used to fight a lot with men. And, you know, I know what it's like to have a real man, even though I'm good at martial arts, hit you so hard that you black out. It's like, wow. And, you know, women who have allowed themselves to beat on their nice religious Muslim man, they get more powerful, they think, like, oh, no man will ever strike back. But one dude will strike you and he'll leave you in the street with your shirt exposed and walk away from you. Or he'll snatch you by the hair and push your face on the carpet and really show you, like, you will not hit me. I am not bound by the rules of Allah or Islam. I am a man. Because see, once you abuse your husband, you're going to want to try to cheat and get a sort of a hit from a real man, right? They're going to crave that energy, whether they say it or not. And, or they'll start introducing, you know, perverted forms of intimacy with their man. That's why a lot of women now, caution listeners, they're pegging their men. They're buying dildos, strap-ons, pegging their men, and then fantasizing or going ahead and cheating on their religious partners with men who are not Muslim, who will perfectly, you know, put them in their place, choke them, do abusive things, slap them around. And then she becomes more inflated and more kind of like just, you know, and it's going to abuse her man, and you're incurring wrath upon you from Allah. You cannot psychologically abuse your partner. So if you're going to go down that road of wanting to always be the one leading the way of your man, you should have picked a better partner. You need to, if you find yourself not wanting to submit to a man, you picked the wrong one. Because if you have a man who is like this magnetic energy, you will sit down naturally. You'll be like, oh, I like this guy, man. He's really nice. He's wise. He's calm. He calms me down. But if you find yourself wanting to compete with a man, then you picked the wrong partner. And that means that you should pick someone who calms you down, not riles you up. Because if a man riles you up and you want to dominate him, that's a clue that you picked the wrong guy, because your man is supposed to calm you down. He's supposed to be your rock. He's supposed to be someone who you can turn to, and he exercises your energy. He pulls out the energy from you in intimacy. If you're the one who is constantly bashing him, complaining, nagging, you picked the wrong guy. And you made him softer with the more abuse, because not all men can handle the abuse. They don't understand what's being done to them until they've already gone down the wrong rabbit hole. And see, that's where polygamy comes in. Before I was a Muslim, didn't understand the concept very much, but I realized as I studied more in Islam, and I got to see real Muslim men who are masculine, it really does become like the lion and the pride, where you're like, hey, these ladies we want to be with him, give him children. Let's honor him. Let's guard and protect him. I want his seed in my belly. I want to give him children. I want to be with him. That's like a holy thing. And it's not the pimp way, because a lot of the women think, oh, it's the pimp way. Floyd Mayweather with his stripper chicken heads. No. We're not talking just about lust. We're talking about honoring him with heirs, with offspring. It's a different energy where you sit down like with your legs folded and you're like, wow. Like your brain doesn't even think about arguing, about smacking, hitting, pulling his beard, spitting on him. You're like, let me feed you. What can I do for you? That's how you know that polygamy is a necessary and real aspect that is healthy for men, because it's also going to keep that man healthy. See, if you allow yourself to become the dominant one and you're always abusing and dominating your man, slapping him around, go here, go there, he's not going to be healthy. He's not going to be the leader. And then when you have a crisis and he can't help you, or a man is attacking you in the street and he doesn't defend you, you're going to be even more disgusted. And you're like, do I got to do it? I'm tired. I got to do it. And then you become more resentful towards men. It's nice to have a man who can bear the burden on the shoulders. It is nice. You can see, you can be strong. I had to learn this too. I'm a very strong person, but the world is already competing with me. I don't want to compete with my man. I don't want to compete with my partner. We're a team. We're a frigging team. We have to be a unit, you know? And if you're with the other women who are sharing him, right, their wives, get along, treat them well. If they have a baby, change the diaper. You can be a solid unit. That is so powerful to spread Islam. When you love Allah and you get a good, righteous Muslim man, you are a unit to spread the religion, to spread his seed, and to help the other women survive as a unit. If you are the domineering one and you have a wormy, weak man, of course you don't want to have a second wife because you don't respect him. You don't think he's worth it. You think, look at him. Look at his worm. Look at this guy. He's going to get a second wife? Psst, yeah, right. If he's not good enough for me, how are he going to be good enough for a second one? So of course they won't do it. Now, they confuse it with the groupie aspect. You're not a groupie. You're not a side chick. You're a wife. Duties come with being a wife. Honor comes with being a wife. Demands come with being a wife. A side chick, like, because remember, I'm Italian. So if you have a guy, he's a side chick, a guma, it's like she gets a couple shoes, she gets some nice stuff. She's the Italian side chick. But he has his real Catholic wife, right? A lot of Italian men on the East Coast, especially, you know, in the 80s and 90s, like a lot of my family who still lives in Italy, they have their side chick, but they give her presents, right? Like, okay, I cheat on my religious wife, she gets gifts. But when Islam is better because you're not a side chick, you're a wife. And with a wife comes responsibilities, like the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, right? You have to take care of these wives and provide for them. And yes, you will incline towards one, towards more than the other. But if you don't have an ego and you realize you're a unit and that you love Allah, your duty is to spread Islam, your womb is a tool that will help you to spread the religion, and you love the religion more than you love yourself, and you honor your man, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal, but that's why the man has to pick the right type of woman and the woman has to pick the right type of man. Because to me, I see polygamy as that's the brilliant way to help spread Islam. Because some women can only have one kid, they can't have any kids, but that's what makes us different than the Christians. I mean, Mormons had polygamy and then they were not allowed to have it anymore. But they would have children and they would live on their estates together and they were a good family, a solid family, right? It's important to spread the religion because Muslims are being killed all over the world. Look at China, they're in concentration camps. And China was doing sterilization programs upon Uyghur Muslims, right? So think about it. In Gaza, they have buildings falling on little kids' heads. You need to be repopulating the ranks. We need strong men to stay healthy, and them having different wives also helps the women to compete in staying beautiful. How many people let themselves go? I had my man, you know, but if you know he's going to do ghusl and go with his other wife, you're like, you know what, maybe I will go for a run. Maybe I will keep up the little bit of healthy competition, little bit of healthy maintenance. This is completely different than being a chick in a brothel or being a pimp's girl or being a groupie or being a side chick. There's no honor in that. But when you love Allah, you understand how the Prophet, peace be upon him, did it. You find the right guy who his energy naturally makes you sit down. You're like, oh, yeah. You know, you have to do the work and you have to find it. And the man has to have the character that naturally makes you submit in that way. But it's a tool that is a blessing from Allah and a mercy. But some women, they think that they got their man just because they don't share him with other wives. You know, society is already trying to take him away from you. So why have adultery when he can have a second wife and you can get along with her and you can make yourself a team? One does the cooking, one does the laundry. One takes the kids out, one is the teacher. Be mature. I mean, it's not that hard, but women make it harder because they want to be the queen instead of being the teammate. Every woman wants to have the crown on her head, but it's like, no, we have to be more than that. Take off the crown and let's be a team. Shoulder to shoulder, you bear a burden, I bear a burden. We're in this together. Let's love this man. Let's all take care of the children. Let's do it, right? But it takes a certain level of dedication to Allah. If you only care about yourself, your makeup, your shoes. Of course, those women won't do it. But again, the men have so
So,
much power.
my bad.
No, it's good.
Do you think that women are just, or Muslim women are against polygyny because of what you said? Because they just don't respect the man. They don't see him as like a lion or like worthy.
Yeah,
Or do you think it's just because they just don't want to share the
it's
man?
a both. It's a play of both, because look at how the media makes men look like idiots a lot. You look at the
Hmm.
popular TV shows. Even if you have a VPN, you can get past censorship and what your country allows for you to see. But they make men seem like idiot, drunkards, losers, wallets. So of course you already have a Hollywood that's trying to make you see men as nothing. And they don't have the right type of man who they'd want to share. And they're in denial about the purpose of a man, about the history of men, and how they used to usually have, they used to spread their seed in that way. And they have a false sense of like, I can hold on to him forever. He'll never get bored of me. There's no benefit. I'll always be jealous. But let me tell you, I once, and this is a personal story, which is how I know Islam is the right religion. I once caught a partner of mine watching porn and I punched him in the face. I was a little bit more violent. I was bad. Okay, I was wrong. I did it though. But he wasn't a Muslim, he was an atheist. But I got jealous. But now it's like, now that I've gone into Islam and I've gotten to see some examples of real men, and you're like, there's no jealousy there. How did, whoa, like, that's amazing. Like, I would totally be a second, third, fourth wife to this guy. He already has 4 wives, but if he was open to it, I would do it. And I was like, that's something interesting. Like you have to go through it and see it. But that's the thing, is these women have to find that man, and the man has to be of himself a real man. That's what comes in the male masculinity. A soft man, no. It just, you can tell. Like, you can't find your way off a paper bag. Like, if the man doesn't command respect, of course, but a solid, just fortified, disciplined man can do it. I mean, so many women, they have open relationships here in California, right? The liberal women have the bachelor parties before they get married. They have open relationships, or they call it the 25th surprise, where you're married for 25 years, you let your partner sleep with someone else. There's already a lot of traditions like that, where after a certain amount of years of being with someone, you let your partner cheat on you and then you talk about it. There's already a lot of that type of culture in America. So that's already a sign that people recognize, or they do threesomes, right? They do threesomes, or they do other perverted things. But that's the dishonorable route. The honorable route is a lot, or they watch pornography together. So these women, they don't make sense in their own heads. They'll watch porn with their partner. They know their partner sees other women out on the street. They'll sometimes let their partner sleep with their neighbor, or, they wife swap. They do double dates. They do all these different things that are already like haram, right? And a lot of Muslim women will deny that they do it, but it is pushed by feminists and liberals to do this. Why do that when you can just have a second wife and you can trust her? She doesn't have STDs. You know her face. You know she's clean. You know she's a good woman. You can be a team, but you have to work in your character, and you have to make your man fortified. You cannot abuse him, make him soft, manipulate him, put him down, and you will naturally see that this isn't just about you. You're not the queen bee. You don't have to be the leader in the family. You're not the leader in the family. You think you are because of your comfort, but you're not. So I think that you're right, is that there's a lot of women who don't agree with polygamy because they don't see their man as someone who's earned it. Men, they can work on that themselves, and then those women will come to them. And he has to be strong to select based upon that, though. Because if you get a narcissist woman, well, you get what you ask for, you know? So it comes down to both the men and women finding the right match. You know what I'm saying? I hope I explained that well.
Yeah, that was very clear and concise. Okay, so next question. All right, next question. How would a Muslim woman, begin to open herself back up to this?
To being polygamous?
Yes.
Well, I'd say first off, start by getting healthy. If you have cellulite, you go and work out. You eat bad, eat healthy. Cut off also the propaganda, meaning turn off the reality TV. Stop listening to the music of these women magicians who give you a sort of warped concept of alpha females, you could say. Love who you are in your skin. Encourage your man to work out. Feed him well, love him well. Build him up to be that strong prophet-like figure. And then take a part in selecting the woman. Have her come, and say like, hey, this is what the duties will entail. Can we get along? Can she live in a separate room or a separate house? Or how can we do this? Come together as a unit, but you have to be healthy. And you have to have self-esteem. So eat good and cut off the women who are encouraging you to just be vain, vapid, narcissist, egotistic maniacs. Humble yourself before Allah. Work on your relationship with Allah. Understand that the world and everything in it is not revolving around you. Like being a mother, understand that as a woman, you have a duty to guard and protect children, and that having children, producing Muslim children is an honor. You have to do those things. You have to take care of yourself. And you have to get off the drinking, and you have to get off the pornography, and you have to break off those things that are warping up your concept, like your righteousness. Become more righteous, make your partner more righteous, and that will lead the way to it. That's what I'd say.
All right, so here's a real question. You being a woman, right? You coming from the feminine angle point of view here. When you see a man, all right, which man holds more value in your eyes? The man that can have multiple women, multiple wives here, or the man that I'm not gonna say cannot, but more so chooses not to?
To be honest, I'd rather see him with multiple women, because I'd say, hey, he's doing his part to spread the religion.
Y'all heard it first.
What about a guy that can but choose not to?
I would say he's made the choice, and I think he hasn't made the decision because he hasn't found the right woman who has presented herself. So I'd say, hey man, he hasn't found it. Well, at least he's being good, and he denied it, and maybe he has a reason. He just hasn't met the right woman yet. But maybe he doesn't want the stress, and he has found the woman he wants, but he should have a duty to produce more Muslim children.
Wait, what do you mean he hasn't found the right woman? Like, what if he's found a woman, but to him, he sees that as like, oh, this is the woman. This is the woman for me. So what do you mean by that he hasn't found the woman?
Yeah, like a good way to think about it, this would be like how the Prophet ﷺ was monogamous to Khadija radiallahu anha for like their entire relationship. Other prophets were monogamous too. But that being said, the Prophet ﷺ was polygynous after, Khadija left. So
so Allah gave him a command with Aisha, right? And she had her purpose to be the mother of believers. So if you make the choice, I still think that some people's energy will shock you, like it'll take you aback, and you'll say, you know what, I need to have more children. It also comes down to a man who might not choose it. He may not choose it because he doesn't want to have to do the intimacy part all the time. Maybe he's like, you know what, I can't perform this much with this woman, I can't afford it. But if he's focused on producing Muslim children, I think he would do it. So I think it comes down to, does the man want to be the father? Does he want to be the seed, the gardener in that way? So it comes down to producing heirs for Islam. So he might find the woman who's beautiful enough and says no, but I say it's an argument of, I have a duty to make Islam spread across the world. That's how I look at it. So he can choose not to. Okay, cool. Take care of the one you have. Awesome. Good. Maybe you can adopt. Maybe you can give zakah. Maybe you can build a masjid or a school. There's other ways he can spread Islam. But for me personally, I think it's time for a heavy push. With all the wars going on with Muslim countries, how much death there is, censorship online, constant targeting, it's time for babies to be born, and it's time to spread the religion. So I put it as more of a conquest aspect, I guess you could say.
That's beautiful, because there's a there's a big push for some reason for polygyny not to happen. And it's weird because
That
it's
makes it
coming
weaker.
from the Muslims. So to hear this perspective, it's refreshing, because to hear the other perspective, it kind of brings thoughts to your head, or as a man, it brings thoughts to my head of like, oh, well, maybe I should just be with one woman. But when I hear perspectives like this, it's like, yeah, you know, this seems fitting. This seems like it is how it should be.
Well, recognize that the feminist liberals want to reduce the population. Remember that. They want to reduce the population because of climate change, and they are openly pushed to reduce the population on Earth. That's why they want you not to eat meat. They want you to be vegans. They want you not to drive your car. They're trying to UN Agenda 21. There's a reason why Muslims are being penetrated with that, is because they want to reduce populations in general. They see humans as a sort of virus on Earth. Being a mother is seen as being shamed upon. And Islam is the last religion where you actually have people who follow their faith, not to be rude, but they actually want it. So of course they're going to target Muslim women with that propaganda. They see, oh, you have 3 or 4 kids, you're doing a curse for climate change. Because I live in the liberal areas. If you see the way they talk about the planet, they worship the planet. I'm not saying we shouldn't care about pollution, but they want to reduce the population. That's why there's an abortion clinics all in the poor areas. They want you to abort your children. They make movies about aborting your children. They glorify the feminists. They wear shirts that say, shout your abortion. They glorify baby killing. So of course they're going to target Muslim women and say, don't have more than one wife, because that's a form of keeping you from breeding. It's a form of keeping you in check. That way they can inoculate your men with bad food, brainwash them, and then now you're reducing your own numbers. You're doing the work for them, right? So for me, it's like, if you really love your religion and you want Islam to rule, you need to have children. That's the easiest way. But see, feminists see birthing as a curse, as oppression. I see it as a tool and an asset, right? But that comes to how much you love Allah. That comes down to how ready are you? It's such an easy way to spread Islam. Your womb, your healthy man is there waiting. You don't need to have all you need the fanciest iPad. You need the fanciest baby clothes. You need to have a fancy baby crib. Materialism comes in and you say, oh, I can't afford to have a kid because I can't afford all this toys for it. Man, that's not how it works. Have the children, spread his seed, raise Muslim children, replace the children who are dying, adopt, do it. It's such an easy way. But they love, I mean, come on. If they won't even take off their makeup to worship Allah, of course they're not going to want to have another wife. I mean, come on, that's why you have to pick the right women.
Some girls are confused at that statement, but they don't know that your wudu. I'm just speaking like from a Shari perspective. I'm not talking about like what what's between you and Allah, that's between you and Allah. But strictly Islamically speaking, if you have makeup, your wudu is kind of nullified, right? Let's keep it 100%.
Because you have to do wudu, you have to do ablution.
Exactly. So your wudu is not going to be fully valid. I don't know if your salah is going to be fully valid, right? It's not for me to judge, but
you have to get your face wet. You have to get your face wet. If you put your wetness on your makeup, it's going to smear. And so I don't want to apply it again. It's expensive. It's MAC. They think going like this with their hands, with air, is like no. The hadiths are clear. If it's clear, but they're addicted because they're programmed to it by narcissists, type of women who are very vain and vapid and surface level. Oh, wear the mask of makeup. Put on the filter. No. Forget about the makeup. Forget about the handbags and the nails. Produce Muslim children. But again, they put their materialism before their man and before God. It's quite sad, but it's intelligent. If you study psychology, you study warfare, you study eugenics, you study political systems and ideologies, it's so clear how they target Muslim women. I mean, it's really not that hard to see, but the women they don't want to accept because they don't want to change. But men, you don't need to change the women, just pick better women. Really. I mean, don't get a woman who you have to fix. Get a woman who's already doing it. And I mean, bada bing, bada boom, as they say. You pick a better woman, who is ready to spread Islam and it wants to have children, who's fertile, if you can't give up makeup for God, of course they're not gonna want to like have a second wife. They already love makeup more than their own God, more than Allah. I mean, that's rude to say, but I don't want to hear any ifs, ands, or but about it. I've dealt with those kind of women. They're just lying to themselves because it hurts their feelings. They don't want to admit how insecure they are, how addicted they are to the makeup, right? They don't want to admit it. Let it go, the makeup. Use your womb. Your womb is like a tool, man. It's such an easy way to spread more Muslim babies. But they want a career chase. They don't want to look ugly while pregnant, they say. They don't want to look fat because they're afraid their man will go with someone else. It's like a baby is potential. Baby is potential. Give your man sons and daughters. Your breasts, feed them with your own breasts and make them grow and be healthy. It's such an easy way. Such an easy way. But it's, you know, in the abortion culture, what do you expect, you know?
Okay, I got a question for that. So Anghel, right? New Muslim. Right? I'm just gonna create a hypothetical scenario. He's single, not married. I don't know if he wants to get married anytime soon. I don't know if he wants to, you know, if he's looking. But what I do know for a fact is if I was in his shoes and I was single and I'm here with all these Muslimas that might not really be it, I would be like, bro, I can't find a good woman. So where do people that are new reverts, where do people that just came into Islam, want to get married, want to kind of help lower their gaze, where do they find these women that you're talking about?
You're asking me or him?
Yeah, you.
You know, that's a good question. I think social media is a powerful tool, but we have to create the networks. People have to start creating those types of groups. And if women like me create YouTube channels and we start networking with each other, we can create it. They may not exist, but we have to talk about it. We have to make it ourselves. We can't sit around waiting for an imam to help us, but to supplicate to Allah. We have to do it. YouTubers supporting each other, saying their honest views, and more women will say, I'm like that, I'm like that, I'm like that. And then we can network as a cohesive unit, right? So I think you'd have to use social media. You have to be in person. You have to go hunting. Go out, find the elk, as they say. You're going to go find the great white shark? Get in the boat. You got to go out there, give dawah, you know, do everything you can and pray to Allah, and maybe that woman will come in your path. But we have to verbalize it. You know, we have to say it. And then someone will hear the call and come. I believe Allah will do that. If we say it, we give the call. Those women will wake up. I'm like that. I didn't know I was, but I am. Here I am, right? That'll help. Because that's what I'm going to do. And a lot of women are shy to say it. But why? If you care about your religion, you care about Allah, and you really feel Allah inside you, you recognize that Muslims are under attack. They are coming and they are hitting you hard. And your makeup is not anything. Your bags, your job, your career, spread the religion. Because if we really believe this world is temporary, having children and spreading male seed is a duty. You know already your house is not coming with you. Your car is not coming with you. Your iPad, your iPhone, your PlayStation, none of it is coming. But what you leave behind, you can leave behind 10 children. You can leave behind a legacy, a bloodline, right? That honors Allah. And yes, some children might become atheists. They might go astray, but you tried. You tried. Your womb is a tool. It's powerful. Embrace motherhood. Don't kill your own children. Don't withhold your legs from your man. Give him what he needs. He will give you what you need, and it will be better. But we have to talk about it ourselves and create those networks. That's what I'd say.
I agree 100%. Rami, you've been awfully quiet the whole episode, bro.
SubhanAllah, I don't think I've said a word. Alhamdulillah.
I know exactly what's going on in your head.
Well, what's going on in my head? Enlighten us.
You've accepted polygyny again.
I've never not accepted polygyny. Alhamdulillah.
But Anha, what's going through your head, bro? Because I don't know, bro. Like, I'm literally imagining if I were you and I'm a new Muslim, bro, I would be like, what's it been, 6 months since you reverted? Bro, I would not be okay being single.
I don't know.
Let the man be. Let the
I
man
don't
be.
know.
Allah.
How about you, Rami?
What? What's the question?
Same question applies to you.
What was the question though? I wasn't listening.
How you gonna
he
say
has a
let the
fiance.
man
What are you
be
talking
if you
about?
weren't listening?
All I heard was I would not be okay being single because you've been a revert.
Yeah, and he has a fiance, bro.
Y'all putting me on the spot.
Nah, 100%. Well, let's talk about Milan. Do you see yourself getting married to a guy in the near future, or is that something that you're kind of waiting till you found the right guy?
Well, I want someone who's like the level of a sheikh or an imam, a scholar. I'll be honest. I've had bodybuilders in the past. I've had enough of the carnal stuff with the Americanized dating. Very alpha men, very, very good men. Alhamdulillah, we separated, but it is what it is. But I want a real Muslim man who's like a scholar who can make me a better Muslim. I need somebody who's smarter than me, more disciplined than me, and who's strict. So when I find him, I'm going to give him children. Let's put it that way. I don't care if he has
MashaAllah.
4 wives or 3 wives, whatever's permissible under Allah. Let me in, I'll say. Let me in. I'll give you children. And I have skills. Cooking, cleaning, whatever needs to be done. Alhamdulillah, let's do it. I'll hunt for you, whatever it is. I'll fish for you, whatever it is. But you have to be a real
MashaAllah.
Muslim. Right? I don't want a lot of young men come, right? And it's like you're 25 because I'm 30, and it's like, I'm sorry, it's like you're too young. You're too young. You're not, even if you're very in the deen, you're too young. I need someone in the 40s, maybe even their 50s, who's like a scholar imam, someone who's there. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be led astray. I've had enough time with the carnal side. I want someone who's real and to honor them with children. So when that comes, alhamdulillah, it'll arrive. But I supplicate, I supplicate. And some women say, you shouldn't say that. Don't say that. Because, an imam, or they'll never want you if you say that. And it's like, okay, if you don't say what you want, how are you going to help that? You have to let people know, because other women might be like, hey, I want that too. So during Ramadan, I supplicated for that, and Allah will decide. Allah will decide. But I'll still help a lot of children, right? Give to charities, help my neighbors out, volunteer at the schools. I'll still make sure I can help as many children as possible, and do my dawah part and perfect myself every day. But only Allah decides what bounty you'll get. And if I don't get it in this life, alhamdulillah, in the hereafter, there might be something there. You never know. So press
Inshallah.
forward.
That's real. Yo, this woman needs to be the voice for the Muslimas, bro.
100%.
Except for the going after guys that are like 40 to 50, like let the women, choose what age they want. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
Leave
know what
that
you
part
mean.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I know what you mean.
what you're saying is real.
Thank you.
I'll vibe with it.
Oh, thank you.
No.
Alhamdulillah.
Rami, come on, man, say something.
SubhanAllah.
I think you were just the amount of just fire that you were spitting, like he's just like out of breath.
Yeah.
He's just
Yeah.
mind blown. He doesn't even know what to say.
SubhanAllah. 100%. There have been a few moments where I thought of certain things to say, but obviously had to let the sister talk, mashallah. Alhamdulillah, she was on a roll for like the entire episode. Alhamdulillah, really held it down. And I think she got the very, very important messages out there. Alhamdulillah. One thing I want to say for the question about Anghel, like, where do you go to find a good Muslim man or woman? May Allah grant him pious spouses, Allahumma ameen, and children who be the coolness of his eyes, ameen, and allow him to be a leader for the righteous. But I don't think there's a place to go, right? If there was a place to go, everyone would be heading down there, right? And then it would be corrupted by all the wrong types of Muslims. But there is no place to go. And I think that's why it really comes down to the man or the woman as an individual, which we've been talking about this entire episode, because you're going to get some good suitors and some bad suitors, and it's up to you to vet them yourself. So there are some places that are better to go to, right? Like it's probably better and more ideal to meet someone through a family friend than at the mall, but it's possible that the person you meet at the mall is better than the family friend. So I think it, all comes down to us as individuals, since we don't have a proper system living where we live. And this is the thing. People don't understand. People think we have it easy. We don't have it easy. We actually have it very difficult. Even compared to some other places in the world. We had a brother recently talking about the place he lives in is just beginning to get corrupted with liberalism and secularism. We are corrupted. We are liberalism and secularism. So we have to understand that we're actually fighting a battle uphill. We don't have it easy. We actually have it very difficult. And if, as Brother Mahdi said in the episode, very good episode, mashallah, go check it out. If you're not progressing, you're regressing. So if you're not actively trying to make yourself better up here and everywhere, every way, shape, and form, connecting to Allah, and strengthening that connection, then you're going to regress and you're going to go down this liberal secularist path, and that's going to lead you down the path what the sister was talking about just now, subhanallah.
Exactly. So we can, if we make the networks ourselves, we can do it. We have to lead by example. Like us doing this is a form of it, because somebody might watch it and be like, you know what, I'm going to create an after school club. I'm going to create a speaker's corner in my neighborhood. I'm going to do this, that. It's how we do it. You have to step forward and put it out there in the world.
Yeah, subhanallah. I've been thinking a lot recently that we need some kind of Sharia in some way, shape, and form in the West. Like we need Sharia courts, and we need to do them right. Islam needs to have its own, like, even if it's under Canadian law, because it must be if we live in Canada, or American law if you're in America, we need to have some kind of force, some kind of power. Like even if it's like during the marriage contract, being able to go to the man's house and take money or take something as to take child support, take the woman's rights Islamically. Like if you are truly secular, then you should allow for some kind of institution like that will give Muslim people who cherish Islam in their deen to sign up for something like that, to be a part of something like that. And I think we should really push for that, because until we have some kind of law and accountability for both men and women, we're still living under the same laws, fighting the uphill battle. So I think that would be a huge step, inshallah.
Agreed.
Allah.
All right, let's start a Sharia court.
Do it.
If you guys made it this far, hashtag Sharia. If there's anything else, let us know. Any of you?
There was something for sure, but I completely forgot.
All right.
What was the last thing you were talking about?
Sharia courts?
No, before that.
How you're single, bro?
Living in the West, you're fighting an uphill battle.
Yeah, but that's why we all have to come forward and create networks. We have to be unified.
Yes.
Be unified.
Yes.
And that's a key component, to be unified, because like you have to be. You literally have to be. We cannot be distant. We have to use the internet as a tool to unify.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, what's your favorite hadith or ayat from the Quran? Just something that really vibes and resonates with you. As soon as you read it, you just knew, like,
the ayat where all of them where they talk about, have you not walked across the earth and see what was of those before, that the ruins, right, that you can be replaced, that Allah guides whom he wills and leads astray whom he wills, but basically the one where you walk through the earth and see what was the end of those who came before. That one is powerful because I am a very big nerd I'm into architecture, and think about the Romans, the Aztecs, the Mayans, the Incas, every single dynasty of China, right? Think just up and down, and you're like, wow. So when we see the secularists today pretending that robots are going to save the future, you're like, honey, what does Allah say? That one is what I like the most. Yeah. The hadiths is where the Bedouins are involved. The Bedouins, I always pronounce it wrong. Those are always my favorite because they remind me a lot of myself. And he had to deal with a very strong-headed, kind of like very solid people, because I was very out there as a child, running on train tracks and stuff like that. So all the hadiths where the Prophet has to deal with the like very blunt words of the Bedouins, is like, oh, he has patience, he has patience and to deal with them, and there's strong kind of almost stubbornness, and the patience you have to have. So I'd say those hadiths are always my favorite.
MashaAllah.
Oh,
MashaAllah.
and there's also a hadith where he points to a woman and says, "Shall I show you the women of paradise?" And it was a woman she was one of the captives, and she was nursing all the children from her breast. So she's like taking one child, giving him, next child, giving them, next child, giving them. He says that's the woman of paradise. I'm summarizing it, but that one is kind of like how I saw myself. It's so I'm like, okay, it doesn't matter if the child needs to eat, the child needs to eat. I don't care if it's mine or someone else's. Child needs to eat. The nurturing aspect, that's another one. Yeah.
MashaAllah.
MashaAllah.
I feel like there's so many women that are gonna get mad at hearing the hadith, but my question is, who the hell else is gonna do it? Who? The men?
Exactly.
The men gonna take pills and like after 2 years grow something? Like,
Men can actually produce. I'm not gonna say they can produce milk, but they can produce a milky substance if they have very high prolactin levels.
Yeah.
It's nasty.
Yeah.
I saw a man nursing, I'd be like, off with his head.
If you made it this far, also write down #prolactin, comment down below, write 2 comments, write 5 comments, really helps the algorithm. It's videos like this that will get censored, will get demonetized, but we really don't care. It's videos like this that will not be promoted in the algorithm. It's all good.
#milky. #milky, #polygyny,
#prolactin.
Yeah, #OnlyFans.
No.
Nah, bro.
Okay, no, we'll get the wrong type. No, that's horrible. No,
Yeah, you're right. Or maybe we'll get the right type. We'll get the people who are looking for OnlyFans, and then they become enlightened.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Ooh, I never thought about that.
SubhanAllah.
All right. Mr. Milhan, is there any other message that you have for anyone watching? Any last closing words?
I'd say before you get mad at me and the things I say, just honestly be alone and hear what I said. Because I know from experience and I know what I'm talking about. So hear me out and don't just blow up my DMs with hate. I don't hate women and I don't hate men. I love Allah more than I love anything else. And every day I work harder, alhamdulillah, and you should too. I mean,
and y'all better get used to her because this is the new voice of the Muslimas. She's gonna be leading the future generations of Muslims.
1000%. I have a feeling this is not gonna be the first time having a feature with you. But with that being said, Rami, end it off, bro.
All right, inshallah. Before I do, I want to say this has been your daily dose of cognitive dissonance, but a fresh reminder that cognitive dissonance needs to be dealt with. And if you're angry, it's because it just disagrees with your preconceived notions on life, and your preconceived notions could be incorrect, believe it or not. Yes, we're not always right. So if you want to just hate, okay, khalas, but understand that you're just hating and it doesn't mean anything, because emotional skepticism, throw it out the window. If you can refute, the points made, the arguments made, that's a different story. But since we are operating under the deen of Allah, very unlikely you'd be able to do that. And if you think you have, you're fooling yourself. But with that being said, may Allah bless his sister for joining us, and the 2 brothers beside me, especially Anghel. May Allah increase him in everything. And I'm gonna leave that. I mean,
man, y'all really putting me on like this.
I'm putting you.
Listen, I'm not in resistance. I'm ready for multiple wives if that is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has planned.
Yes, and may Allah bless you with that.
You can't have multiple wives if you don't have one wife, bro.
Yeah, that's a start.
Let's get this man cuffed.
That's a start. All right, y'all.
All right. With that being said, Allahumma atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhab an-nar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
How would you feel if mom passed away knowing you didn't do anything to take care of her?
Mm-hmm.